This video contains audio content only. There are no visual elements or images accompanying the audio. If you're expecting to see video footage, please note that this is an intentional audio-only presentation. We recommend listening to this content rather than watching the screen. Thank you for your understanding and enjoy the audio. Hello and welcome to our deep dive into one of evolution's most fascinating stories, the remarkable journey of how snakes became snakes. I'm excited to share with you the latest scientific understanding of snake evolution, from their ancient origins to their incredible diversity today. Before we begin our journey through time, I want to set the stage for why this topic matters. Snakes represent one of evolution's most dramatic transformations, a group of animals that completely reimagined what a vertebrate body could be. They've lost their limbs, dramatically altered their skulls, developed some of nature's most potent venoms, and evolved incredible sensory capabilities. Today, there are nearly 4,000 species of snakes inhabiting almost every corner of our planet, from the ocean depths to desert sands. In this comprehensive exploration, we'll trace their evolutionary history, examine the remarkable adaptations they've developed, and uncover how modern science is revealing their secrets. Whether you're fascinated by evolution, intrigued by reptiles, or simply curious about how nature innovates, this journey has something for everyone. 1. Snakes in the Tree of Life. To understand snake evolution, we first need to place them in the broader context of vertebrate evolution. Snakes belong to a larger group of animals called squamates, the reptile order that includes all lizards and snakes. This relationship is crucial because it tells us that snakes evolved from lizard-like ancestors, though the exact nature of these ancestors has been a subject of intense scientific investigation. The squamate lineage itself emerged during the Jurassic period, approximately 170 million years ago. But what makes this group particularly interesting is its tremendous success. Today, squamates represent the largest order of reptiles and one of the most diverse groups of vertebrates on Earth. Within this diverse group, snakes form a distinct suborder called serpentes. What's particularly fascinating is that snakes aren't the only squamates to have lost their limbs. In fact, limblessness has evolved independently at least 25 different times within squamates. However, snakes have been uniquely successful among these limbless groups. While other limbless lizards exist, like glass lizards and worm lizards, none have achieved the remarkable diversity and widespread success of snakes. This brings us to an intriguing question: what made snakes different? Recent research has revealed that snakes represent what scientists call a macroevolutionary singularity, a rare event where evolution seems to shift into a higher gear. Snakes evolved up to 3 times faster than their lizard relatives, particularly in traits related to feeding, locomotion, and sensory processing. The snake family tree itself has several major branches. The most basal, earliest branching, living snakes are the scalicophidians, small, fossorial, burrowing, snakes like blind snakes and thread snakes. The vast majority of modern snakes belong to the elethonophidian lineage, which includes familiar groups like pythons, boas, and advanced snakes, colobroids, such as vipers, cobras, and rat snakes. This diversity didn't emerge overnight. The earliest definitive snake fossils date back to the Middle Jurassic period, roughly 143 to 167 million years ago. However, the majority of modern snake diversity appeared much later, during the Paleocene epoch, about 66 to 56 million years ago, after the extinction event that wiped out the non-avian dinosaurs. One of the most remarkable aspects of snake evolution is how they've maintained their basic body plan while diversifying into countless ecological niches. From tiny thread snakes barely larger than a worm to massive pythons that can exceed 20 feet in length, from tree-dwelling species to sea snakes that spend their entire lives in the ocean, snakes have proven remarkably adaptable while maintaining their fundamental snakeness. This adaptability is reflected in their current distribution. Snakes can be found on every continent except Antarctica, and in almost every habitat type from deserts to tropical rainforests, from underground burrows to treetops. They've even colonized the open ocean, with sea snakes evolving specialized adaptations for marine life. The relationship between snakes and their lizard relatives continues to provide valuable insights into evolution. For instance, by comparing snakes with limbless lizards, Scientists can better understand how different evolutionary pressures lead to similar body forms but different levels of success. While many lizards have independently evolved snake-like body forms, none have achieved the same level of diversity or ecological success as true snakes. 2. From limbs to limbless, the origin story. One of evolution's most dramatic transformations is the loss of limbs in snakes. This wasn't a simple case of legs gradually becoming smaller, it involved comprehensive restructuring of the entire body plan. Let's explore how this remarkable transition occurred. The story begins with a fundamental question that puzzled scientists for decades. Did snakes lose their limbs while living underground, swimming in the seas, or moving across the surface? This debate has been particularly intense because each scenario could theoretically explain the snake body form we see today. Recent evidence has begun to paint a clearer picture. The earliest snake ancestors were likely surface-dwelling terrestrial animals, not burrowers or swimmers as previously thought. This conclusion comes from detailed analysis of early snake fossils and comparative studies of modern snakes and lizards. However, these surface-dwelling ancestors likely spent time in multiple habitats, which may help explain snakes' eventual success in so many different environments. What's particularly fascinating is that we can still see traces of this limbed ancestry in modern snakes. Pythons and boas, for instance, retain tiny vestigial hind limb structures, small bones near their pelvis that are the remnants of their legged ancestors' hip bones. These structures, while no longer functional for walking, serve as a remarkable testament to their evolutionary history. The transition from limbed to limbless wasn't just about losing legs, it involved profound changes throughout the body. As limbs were reduced, snakes' bodies became more elongated, with an increased number of vertebrae. Modern snakes typically have between 200 and 400 vertebrae, compared to the 30 to 40 found in most lizards. This extensive vertebral column provides the flexibility and strength needed for their unique form of locomotion. The genetic basis for this transformation has begun to come to light through recent research. Changes in Hox genes, which control body patterning during development, played a crucial role. These genes essentially redrew the snake body plan, extending the trunk region while suppressing limb development. What's remarkable is that these same genetic tools are used repeatedly in nature. Similar changes in Hox genes have led to limb loss in other reptiles, though never with quite the same dramatic results as in snakes. But losing limbs was just the beginning. The transition required solving numerous mechanical challenges. How would these animals move efficiently without legs? How would they maintain the strength needed to capture and handle prey? How would they protect their elongated bodies? Nature's solutions to these challenges are ingenious. Movement without limbs required the development of new locomotor strategies. Snakes evolved several distinct types of movement, each suited to different environments and situations. The familiar serpentine movement, where the body forms S-shaped curves, is just one of several methods. They can also move in a straight line using their ventral scales, rectilinear locomotion, climb by gripping surfaces with their body, concertina locomotion, or even move sideways across sand, sidewinding. The loss of limbs also led to fascinating internal reorganization. Since a snake's body is essentially one long cylinder, internal organs had to be rearranged to fit this new body plan. Paired organs like kidneys, which typically sit side by side in other vertebrates, became arranged one in front of the other in snakes. Many snakes have also lost one lung, typically the left one, as part of this streamlining process. The skin of snakes also underwent significant modification. Their scales became highly specialized, with ventral scales that grip surfaces for movement and dorsal scales that provide protection while maintaining flexibility. The overlapping arrangement of these scales allows for expansion during feeding and efficient locomotion while providing excellent protection against abrasion. This transformation didn't happen overnight. The fossil record shows us intermediate forms, ancient snakes that retain some limb elements while already showing typical snake-like features. One of the most famous examples is Nagish rheonegrina, a fossil snake from about 95 million years ago that had hind limbs but already displayed many characteristics of modern snakes. This and other fossil discoveries help us understand the gradual nature of this transformation. What's particularly interesting is that this wasn't a one-way street. While the main lineage of snakes became completely limbless, some early snake groups retained small external limbs for millions of years after the initial evolution of the snake body form. This suggests that the transition period was quite extended, with different lineages experimenting with various body forms before the modern snake body plan became fully established. The success of this transformation is evident in how rarely snakes have reversed course. Unlike many other evolutionary innovations that have been lost multiple times in different lineages, once snakes established their limbless body plan, they stuck with it. No snake species has re-evolved functional limbs, suggesting that this body plan, once achieved, proved remarkably successful and stable. 3. The evolutionary Big Bang, rapid adaptation and diversification. One of the most remarkable aspects of snake evolution is not just what changed, but how quickly it happened. What scientists have discovered is nothing short of an evolutionary explosion, a period of extraordinary diversification that made snakes one of evolution's greatest success stories. Recent research has revealed that snakes underwent what scientists term a macroevolutionary singularity, a dramatic burst in evolutionary innovation that set them apart from all other reptiles. This phenomenon is particularly fascinating because it shows how evolution can occasionally shift into overdrive, producing remarkable results in relatively short timeframes. The numbers tell an impressive story. Snakes evolved up to 3 times faster than their lizard relatives, particularly in traits related to feeding, movement, and sensory abilities. This accelerated evolution wasn't just about speed, it was about innovation. Snakes didn't just modify existing features, they developed entirely new ways of interacting with their environment. What makes this evolutionary burst even more interesting is its timing. The major diversification of snakes occurred after the extinction event that wiped out the dinosaurs, approximately 66 million years ago. This timing wasn't coincidental. The mass extinction created new ecological opportunities, and snakes were perfectly positioned to take advantage of them. But what exactly made snakes so successful during this period? The answer lies in their remarkable adaptability. Unlike many other animal groups that specialize in one particular lifestyle, snakes developed the ability to thrive in multiple environments. They could burrow underground, climb trees, swim in water, and move efficiently across open ground. This versatility gave them a significant advantage in the post-extinction world. The rapid evolution of snakes manifested in several key areas. Their skulls became increasingly specialized, with some lineages developing the ability to swallow prey much larger than their head size. Their sensory systems evolved in novel ways, with some developing heat-sensing abilities and others fine-tuning their chemosensory capabilities. Their bodies became adapted for different types of locomotion, from swimming to climbing to burrowing. What's particularly fascinating about this evolutionary burst is how it led to the development of different specialized forms. Some snakes became highly specialized burrowers, with reduced eyes and reinforced snouts. Others developed into expert tree climbers, with bodies adapted for moving through branches and gripping vegetation. Still others became adapted to aquatic life, with specialized scales and modified nostrils for breathing at the water's surface. This diversification wasn't just about body forms, it also involved remarkable behavioral innovations. Some snakes developed complex hunting strategies, from ambush predation to active pursuit. Others evolved sophisticated methods of subduing prey, from constriction to venom injection. Some even developed specialized dietary preferences, becoming experts at hunting specific types of prey, from eggs to other snakes. The speed of this evolution is particularly evident in the development of venom systems. Within a relatively short time period, different lineages of snakes independently evolved various types of venom delivery systems, from simple enlarged teeth to sophisticated hollow fangs. This parallel evolution of similar features in different lineages demonstrates how strong selective pressures can drive rapid evolutionary change. Another fascinating aspect of this evolutionary burst is how it led to the development of different size classes. From tiny thread snakes measuring just a few inches to massive pythons and anacondas reaching lengths of over 20 feet, snakes quickly occupied virtually every size niche available to them. This size diversification allowed them to exploit different prey resources and occupy different ecological roles. The rapid evolution of snakes also involved remarkable changes in reproductive strategies. While most reptiles lay eggs, some snake lineages evolved viviparity, the ability to give birth to live young. This adaptation has evolved independently multiple times in different snake groups, showing how similar solutions can arise repeatedly when faced with similar environmental challenges. What's particularly interesting about snake evolution is that it wasn't just a matter of becoming more complex or specialized. In some cases, evolution led to simplification. Some snake lineages lost features that their ancestors had, such as color vision or certain skull bones, when these features were no longer advantageous in their particular ecological niche. This evolutionary burst wasn't uniform across all snake lineages. Some groups, like the advanced snakes, Colobroidea, underwent particularly dramatic diversification, while others, like blind snakes, remained relatively conservative in their form. This pattern shows how evolutionary opportunity, combined with the right adaptations, can lead to dramatic differences in diversification rates between related groups. The legacy of this evolutionary burst is still evident today. Modern snakes show an incredible diversity of forms, behaviors, and ecological adaptations, all stemming from this period of rapid evolution. From the deadly efficiency of vipers to the crushing power of pythons, from the agile tree snakes to the streamlined sea snakes, each represents a different evolutionary solution to the challenges of survival. 4. Skull evolution and feeding innovations. The evolution of the snake skull represents one of the most remarkable examples of anatomical innovation in vertebrate history. Unlike most vertebrates, which have relatively rigid skulls, snakes develop what might be considered one of nature's most sophisticated engineering solutions: a highly mobile skull that can dramatically expand to accommodate prey much larger than their head size. Let's start with the fundamental transformation that occurred in snake skull architecture. The ancestral reptilian skull was relatively rigid, with firmly connected bones providing a stable platform for bite force. But snakes took a radically different approach. Their skulls evolved to become highly kinetic, with numerous flexible joints between bones that allow for extraordinary mobility. This wasn't simply a loosening of existing connections, it was a complete reimagining of how a vertebrate skull could function. The most dramatic innovation in snake skull evolution is what's known as cranial kinesis, the ability of skull bones to move independently of each other. This involves several key modifications. First, the lower jaws of snakes aren't fused at the front like ours but are connected by an elastic ligament. This allows them to spread apart when swallowing large prey. Second, the upper jaw bones became movable, capable of pushing forward and outward during feeding. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of snake skull evolution is the modification of the quadrate bone. In most vertebrates, this bone is relatively fixed and primarily involved in jaw movement. In snakes, it became elongated and highly mobile, effectively acting as a lever that helps push prey into the throat during swallowing. This modification was crucial in allowing snakes to consume prey items that are much larger than their head. The transformation of the snake skull wasn't just about mobility, it also involved significant changes in tooth structure and arrangement. Unlike many vertebrates that have different types of teeth for different functions, cutting, crushing, grinding, most snakes develop numerous sharp, backward-pointing teeth. These teeth are designed not to chew food but to grip prey and help guide it toward the throat during swallowing. The evolution of different feeding strategies led to fascinating variations in skull structure among different snake lineages. Constrictors like pythons and boas developed strong, numerous teeth for gripping prey while they squeeze it to death. Venomous snakes evolved specialized fangs, which in some species can fold back against the roof of the mouth when not in use. Some egg-eating snakes have very few teeth but developed specialized vertebral processes that project into the throat to help crack eggs. One of the most remarkable aspects of snake skull evolution is the development of different venom delivery systems. The most primitive venomous snakes had simple enlarged teeth with grooves that helped channel venom into prey. Over time, some lineages evolved fully enclosed venom canals within their fangs, essentially creating natural hypodermic needles. In the most advanced systems, these fangs can rotate from a folded position to an erect position for striking. The skull modifications in snakes also led to changes in how they sense their environment. Unable to chew their food, Snakes needed to make sure they were targeting appropriate prey before attempting to swallow it whole. This led to the evolution of highly developed sensory systems in the skull, including specialized organs for detecting chemical signals and, in some species, heat-sensing pit organs. The evolution of the snake skull also involved significant changes in muscle arrangement. The jaw muscles of snakes are particularly well developed and arranged in ways that allow for both powerful biting and the complex movements needed for swallowing large prey. Some species have even evolved specialized muscles that can move their fangs independently. What's particularly fascinating about snake skull evolution is how different lineages have modified the basic plan to suit their specific feeding strategies. Sea snakes, for example, have developed relatively small heads with short fangs, which are more effective for catching slippery fish. Burrowing snakes often have reinforced skulls with fewer mobile elements, helping them push through soil. Tree snakes typically have longer, lighter skulls with large eyes, adaptations that help them capture prey in their arboreal environment. The diversity of skull forms in snakes also reflects their varied hunting strategies. Some species are active hunters that chase down their prey, while others are ambush predators that wait for prey to come to them. These different strategies have led to variations in skull shape, jaw muscle arrangement, and tooth structure. For example, ambush predators often have wider heads with longer fangs, while active hunters typically have more streamlined heads. Another interesting aspect of snake skull evolution is how it has influenced their sensory capabilities. The reorganization of the skull bones created space for the development of new sensory structures. The vomeronasal or Jacobson's organ, which detects chemical signals, became highly developed in snakes, and its associated bones in the skull were modified to support this enhanced chemosensory ability. 5. Venom evolution and development. The evolution of venom represents one of the most sophisticated biochemical innovations in the animal kingdom, and snakes have taken this adaptation to remarkable heights. What began as a simple modification of salivary glands has evolved into one of nature's most complex and effective weapon systems, fundamentally changing how these animals interact with both prey and predators. Let's start with a surprising revelation. Venom didn't evolve just once in snakes. Modern research has shown that venom systems have evolved independently multiple times across different snake lineages. What's even more fascinating is that these different lineages often arrived at similar solutions through different evolutionary pathways, a perfect example of convergent evolution. The foundation of snake venom evolution began with regular salivary glands. These ordinary glands, which in most animals produce enzymes to help with digestion, became modified over time to produce increasingly toxic secretions. This process didn't happen overnight. It occurred through a series of genetic duplications and modifications, with normal proteins being slowly transformed into toxic variants. What makes snake venom particularly interesting is its complexity. A single snake's venom can contain dozens of different toxins, each with specific effects on prey. These toxins target various biological systems. Some affect blood clotting, others attack muscle tissue, while still others impact the nervous system. This diversity of toxins helps explain why snake venoms can be so effective against a wide range of prey species. The evolution of venom delivery systems is equally fascinating. The earliest venomous snakes likely had simple enlarged teeth with grooves that helped channel venom into prey. Over time, these grooves became deeper and eventually closed completely, forming hollow fangs that work like hypodermic needles. In the most advanced systems, these fangs can fold back against the roof of the mouth when not in use, allowing for both protection of the fangs and maximum strike efficiency. Different snake lineages have evolved different approaches to venom delivery. Front-fanged snakes, like vipers and cobras, have large, hollow fangs at the front of their mouth. Rear-fanged snakes have their venom-delivering teeth positioned further back, requiring them to chew their prey to deliver venom effectively. These different approaches reflect different hunting strategies and prey preferences. One of the most remarkable aspects of venom evolution is how it continues to this day. Snake populations are constantly engaged in evolutionary arms races with their prey, leading to ongoing modifications in venom composition. This is why snake venoms can vary significantly not just between species, but even between populations of the same species in different locations. The development of venom has also led to fascinating behavioral adaptations. Many venomous snakes have evolved sophisticated strike behaviors that maximize venom delivery while minimizing their own risk of injury. Some species can control the amount of venom they inject, conserving this metabolically expensive resource when less is needed. Venom evolution has also been influenced by diet specialization. Some snakes have evolved venoms that are particularly effective against specific prey types. For example, some sea snakes have venoms that are especially potent against fish, while some terrestrial snakes have venoms optimized for subduing mammals or birds. The complexity of venom evolution is further demonstrated by the fact that some snakes have lost their venom over time. In cases where venom wasn't providing a significant advantage, such as in species that switched to constricting their prey or those specializing in eggs, the venom system has been reduced or lost entirely. This shows that maintaining a venom system carries significant biological costs. What's particularly interesting about snake venom evolution is its modular nature. Different components of the venom can evolve independently, allowing for rapid adaptation to new challenges. This modularity helps explain why snake venoms are so diverse and why they can evolve relatively quickly in response to changing conditions. The evolution of venom resistance is another fascinating aspect of this story. As snakes evolved increasingly potent venoms, some of their prey species evolved resistance to these toxins. This has led to ongoing evolutionary arms races, with snakes evolving more complex venoms while prey species develop increasingly sophisticated defenses. Venom evolution has also played a crucial role in snake speciation. Differences in venom composition between populations can lead to reproductive isolation, as populations become adapted to local prey. This process has contributed to the remarkable diversity of venomous snake species we see today. The study of snake venom evolution has important implications for human medicine. Understanding how these complex protein mixtures evolved and function has led to the development of numerous therapeutic drugs. From blood pressure medications to pain relievers, snake venoms have provided valuable insights into human physiology and potential treatments for various conditions. 6. Visual systems and sensory adaptations. The evolution of sensory systems in snakes represents one of the most fascinating examples of how losing certain capabilities can lead to the enhancement of others. When snakes adopted their elongated, limbless body form, they didn't just change how they moved. They fundamentally altered how they perceive and interact with their environment. Let's begin with vision, where snakes have evolved some remarkable adaptations while also losing some capabilities common to other vertebrates. Unlike their lizard ancestors, most snakes have lost the ability to focus their eyes by changing the shape of their lens. Instead, they've evolved a fixed focus system that works well for their hunting strategies. The snake eye is covered by a transparent scale called the spectacle or brill, which protects the eye while allowing vision. What's particularly interesting about snake vision is how it varies among different species based on their lifestyle. Arboreal, tree-dwelling snakes often have large eyes with good visual acuity, helping them navigate through branches and spot prey against complex backgrounds. In contrast, burrowing snakes have reduced eyes, sometimes covered by thick scales, as vision is less crucial in underground environments. But perhaps the most remarkable visual adaptation in snakes is their ability to detect infrared radiation. Some groups, particularly pit vipers and boas, have evolved specialized heat-sensing organs called pit organs. These structures, located between the eye and nostril, can detect temperature differences as small as a fraction of a degree, allowing snakes to create a crude thermal image of their environment. This is particularly useful for detecting warm-blooded prey in low-light conditions. The evolution of infrared sensing is even more impressive when we consider its precision. The pit organs are so sensitive that they can detect a warm-blooded animal from several feet away, even in complete darkness. This ability has evolved independently in different snake lineages, showing how similar selective pressures can lead to similar solutions. Moving beyond vision, snakes have developed perhaps the most sophisticated chemosensory system of any vertebrate. The forked tongue and vomeronasal organ, Jacobson's organ, work together as a highly efficient chemical sampling system. When a snake flicks its tongue, It's actually collecting chemical particles from the air and transferring them to the Jacobson's organ in the roof of its mouth. The fork in the snake's tongue isn't just for show, it serves a crucial function. By having two tines, the tongue can sample chemicals from slightly different locations, allowing the snake to determine the direction of a chemical gradient. This stereo-chemoreception is similar in principle to how our two ears help us locate the source of a sound. Snakes have also evolved sophisticated mechanosensory systems. Their entire body is sensitive to vibrations, both through the ground and through the air. This sensitivity is enhanced by their close contact with the substrate and the arrangement of their scales. Some species can detect approaching predators or prey purely through subtle ground vibrations. The loss of external ears in snakes might seem like a disadvantage, but they've compensated in interesting ways. While they lack external ear openings, they can still detect low-frequency sounds through bone conduction. The quadrate bone, which helps in swallowing prey, also serves to conduct vibrations to the inner ear. One of the most fascinating aspects of snake sensory evolution is how different species have emphasized different sensory modalities based on their lifestyle. Nocturnal species often have enhanced chemosensory and infrared sensing capabilities, while diurnal species may rely more heavily on vision. Burrowing species have reduced eyes but enhanced mechanoreception, while aquatic species have developed specialized sensory adaptations for detecting movement in water. The integration of these various sensory systems is equally impressive. Snakes don't rely on any single sense but rather combine information from multiple sensory channels to build a comprehensive picture of their environment. For example, a hunting snake might initially detect prey through ground vibrations, confirm its location using infrared sensing, and then use chemical cues to determine if it's suitable prey. Some snakes have evolved particularly specialized sensory adaptations. Sea snakes, for instance, have developed pressure-sensitive organs that help them detect fish movement in water. Some species have scales modified to enhance their sensitivity to touch and vibration, while others have developed specialized receptors sensitive to electrical fields. The evolution of these sensory systems has also influenced snake behavior. Many snakes perform elaborate tongue-flicking behaviors to sample their environment, and different species have evolved different patterns of tongue flicking based on their hunting strategies and habitat preferences. Some species even use their sensory capabilities in social interactions, detecting chemical signals from other snakes during breeding season. What's particularly remarkable about snake sensory evolution is how it demonstrates the principle of trade-offs in evolution. While snakes may have lost some sensory capabilities common to other vertebrates, they've more than compensated by developing and enhancing other senses. This shows how evolution can produce highly effective solutions even when working within constraints. 7. Genetic changes behind snake evolution. The genetic basis of snake evolution provides a fascinating window into how major evolutionary transformations occur at the molecular level. What makes snakes particularly interesting from a genetic perspective is the dramatic scale of the changes that had to occur, from body plan alterations to the development of new sensory systems and venom production. Let's start with what might be considered the genetic architecture of becoming a snake. At the heart of the snake body plan transformation are the Hox genes, ancient master regulators that control body patterning during development. What's fascinating is how snakes modified these existing genetic tools rather than inventing entirely new ones. They essentially reprogrammed the Hox gene system to extend the trunk region while suppressing limb development. One of the most remarkable aspects of snake genetics is the speed at which their genomes have evolved. Recent research has shown that snakes have experienced accelerated evolution in many parts of their genome, particularly in genes related to morphology, metabolism, and sensory systems. This rapid evolution helps explain how snakes were able to develop their unique features relatively quickly in evolutionary time. The genetic changes underlying limb loss in snakes are particularly interesting. Rather than simply losing the genes for limb development, snakes still retain many of these genes but have modified their regulation. The genes are still there, but the genetic switches that turn them on during development have been altered. This explains why some primitive snakes still develop vestigial hind limbs. The genetic machinery isn't completely gone, just extensively modified. Venom evolution provides another fascinating window into genetic innovation. Venom genes typically evolve through a process called gene duplication, where existing genes are copied and then modified. What's remarkable is how ordinary proteins, often involved in normal biological processes, were transformed into deadly toxins. For example, some snake venom proteins evolved from regular digestive enzymes, while others were derived from proteins involved in blood clotting. The evolution of infrared sensing capabilities in some snakes required significant genetic modifications. The genes involved in developing and operating the pit organs were derived from existing temperature-sensitive ion channels. These genes were duplicated and modified to create an entirely new sensory system, a remarkable example of how evolution can repurpose existing genetic material for new functions. Another interesting aspect of snake genetics is how they've modified genes related to metabolism and digestion. Snakes can go long periods without eating and then consume very large meals, requiring significant metabolic adaptations. The genes controlling metabolism and digestion in snakes show evidence of strong positive selection, indicating they've been extensively modified to handle this unusual feeding pattern. The evolution of the snake visual system also involved significant genetic changes. While snakes have lost some genes related to color vision that are present in other vertebrates, they've modified others to enhance sensitivity to different wavelengths of light. Some species have even evolved new genes to help process infrared radiation, complementing their heat-sensing organs. What's particularly fascinating about snake genetics is the evidence of convergent evolution at the molecular level. Different lineages of snakes have often evolved similar traits through different genetic pathways, showing how evolution can arrive at similar solutions through different routes. This is particularly evident in the evolution of Venom, where different snake groups have independently modified different genes to produce similar toxic effects. The genetic basis of skull mobility in snakes involved modifications to numerous genes controlling bone development and muscle attachment. These changes had to be coordinated to produce the highly flexible skull that characterizes modern snakes. The genes involved show evidence of co-evolution, suggesting they changed together to maintain functional integration. Recent research has also revealed interesting patterns in the regulation of snake genes. Snakes have evolved unique regulatory sequences, genetic switches that control when and where genes are activated. These modifications to gene regulation were crucial in reshaping the snake body plan and developing new features like venom glands and sensory organs. One of the most intriguing aspects of snake genetics is how they've maintained genome stability despite such dramatic evolutionary changes. While many parts of their genome have evolved rapidly, others have remained remarkably conserved, helping to maintain essential biological functions while allowing for innovation in specific traits. The study of snake genetics has also revealed interesting patterns in how evolution can produce dramatic changes through the modification of existing systems. Rather than evolving completely new genes, snakes have largely modified and repurposed existing genetic machinery. This demonstrates how major evolutionary innovations can arise through the reorganization of existing components. Understanding the genetic basis of snake evolution has important implications beyond evolutionary biology. The study of snake genes has provided insights into human biology and disease, particularly through research on venom proteins and metabolic adaptations. These studies continue to reveal new potential applications in medicine and biotechnology. 8. Geographic distribution and early snake habitats. The story of snake distribution across the globe is a remarkable tale of colonization and adaptation that spans millions of years. Understanding where snakes originated and how they spread across the planet provides crucial insights into their evolution and current diversity. Let's explore this fascinating journey through time and space. The question of where snakes first evolved has been a subject of intense scientific debate. Recent evidence suggests that the earliest snakes likely originated on the ancient supercontinent of Gondwana, specifically in what is now the southern hemisphere. However, the snake total group might have originated in Laurasia, adding an interesting complexity to their biogeographical history. What's particularly fascinating about snake distribution is how successfully they've colonized almost every corner of the globe. Today, snakes can be found on every continent except Antarctica, and they've even managed to colonize numerous remote islands. They occupy an incredible range of habitats, from deserts to rainforests, from underground burrows to treetops, and from freshwater to open oceans. The earliest snake habitats provide important clues about their early evolution. While there was long debate about whether snakes originated in marine, terrestrial, or underground environments, recent evidence strongly supports a terrestrial origin. The earliest snakes were likely surface-dwelling animals that spent time in multiple habitats, which may help explain their subsequent success in colonizing diverse environments. One of the most interesting aspects of snake distribution is how different groups have radiated into different habitats. For example, the evolution of sea snakes represents a relatively recent return to aquatic life. These snakes evolved from terrestrial ancestors and developed numerous adaptations for marine life, including flattened, paddle-like tails and specialized scales for underwater movement. The colonization of different continents by snakes shows fascinating patterns. Some snake families show distinct geographic distributions that reflect ancient continental movements. For instance, boas and pythons, which are some of the most primitive living snakes, show a distribution pattern that largely reflects the breakup of Gondwana, with different lineages found in South America, Africa, Asia, and Australia. Climate has played a crucial role in shaping snake distribution. Unlike many other reptiles, snakes have managed to colonize relatively cold regions, thanks to behavioral and physiological adaptations. Some species have evolved hibernation strategies that allow them to survive in areas with cold winters, while others have developed specialized behaviors to maintain optimal body temperature. The ability of snakes to cross water barriers has significantly influenced their distribution patterns. While most snakes are not particularly good swimmers, they've managed to colonize many oceanic islands. This colonization has often led to the evolution of unique island species, demonstrating how geographic isolation can drive speciation. Perhaps one of the most remarkable aspects of snake distribution is how different species have adapted to local conditions. In urban environments, some snakes have successfully adapted to human-modified habitats. Others have become specialists in particular microhabitats, such as tree canopies, rock crevices, or sandy deserts, each developing specific adaptations for their preferred environment. The current distribution of snakes also reflects historical changes in climate and geography. During ice ages, many snake species were forced to retreat to warmer refugia, only to expand their ranges again during warmer periods. These historical movements have left genetic signatures that help us understand how current distribution patterns emerged. Human activities have significantly impacted snake distribution in recent times. Some species have been introduced to new areas, either accidentally or deliberately, while others have seen their ranges contract due to habitat destruction. Understanding these changes is crucial for conservation efforts and predicting how snake distributions might change in response to future climate change. The study of snake habitats has revealed interesting patterns in how different species partition their environment. Even in areas with high snake diversity, different species often avoid competition by specializing in different microhabitats or being active at different times. This niche partitioning has allowed multiple snake species to coexist in the same general area. Desert-dwelling snakes have evolved particularly fascinating adaptations to their harsh environment. Many species have developed behaviors to avoid extreme temperatures, such as being nocturnal or using burrows. Some have even evolved specialized scales that help them collect water from morning dew or prevent water loss. The success of snakes in colonizing such diverse habitats is testament to their remarkable adaptability. Their basic body plan has proven surprisingly versatile, allowing them to effectively move through nearly any environment while maintaining the ability to capture and consume prey. This adaptability helps explain their continuing success and diversity across the globe. As we conclude our exploration of snake evolution, let's synthesize what we've learned and consider the broader implications of this remarkable evolutionary story. The journey of snakes from lizard-like ancestors to their current diversity offers fascinating insights into evolutionary processes and the nature of adaptation itself. First and foremost, the snake story demonstrates that major evolutionary transitions can happen relatively quickly when conditions are right. The rapid diversification of snakes, particularly after the extinction of the dinosaurs, shows how evolutionary innovation can lead to explosive radiation when new ecological opportunities arise. This pattern of rapid evolution following innovation is something we see repeatedly in nature, but snakes provide one of the most dramatic examples. The evolution of snakes also teaches us important lessons about trade-offs in evolution. While snakes lost their limbs, they gained extraordinary flexibility and new sensory capabilities. This reminds us that evolution often involves not just gaining new features, but also losing or modifying existing ones. Sometimes, giving up one capability can open the door to new evolutionary possibilities. Another crucial insight from snake evolution is the importance of modularity in biological systems. Snakes didn't evolve all their unique features simultaneously. Different aspects of their biology evolved at different rates and times. Their venom systems, sensory adaptations, and modified body plans evolved through separate but interrelated changes, showing how complex adaptations can build up over time. The relationship between form and function in snake evolution provides valuable lessons for biomechanics and engineering. The ways snakes move, sense their environment, and capture prey have inspired numerous technological innovations, from robot design to drug delivery systems. Their venom compounds continue to lead to new pharmaceutical discoveries, showing how understanding evolutionary innovations can have practical applications. From a conservation perspective, the story of snake evolution highlights the importance of preserving both species and habitats. The remarkable diversity of snakes we see today is the product of millions of years of evolution in various environments. As these habitats face increasing threats from human activities and climate change, we risk losing not just individual species but entire evolutionary experiments. Looking to the future, snake evolution continues to be a dynamic field of study. New fossil discoveries, advanced genetic techniques, and innovative research methods continue to refine our understanding of how these remarkable animals evolved. This ongoing research not only helps us understand snake evolution but also provides insights into fundamental evolutionary processes. The study of snake evolution also reminds us of the importance of overcoming our preconceptions. While many people fear or dislike snakes, their evolutionary story is one of remarkable innovation and adaptation. Understanding their evolution can help us appreciate these animals not as fearsome creatures, but as fascinating examples of evolutionary possibility. Finally, the story of snake evolution illustrates the power of natural selection to produce extraordinary adaptations from modest beginnings. From modified lizard ancestors, evolution produced everything from tiny thread snakes to massive pythons, from highly venomous cobras to constricting boas, each exquisitely adapted to its particular way of life. As we face an uncertain future with rapid environmental changes, the adaptability demonstrated by snakes throughout their evolutionary history might offer important lessons. Their success in colonizing diverse habitats and adapting to various challenges provides hope that some species will be able to adapt to changing conditions, while also reminding us of the importance of preserving the conditions that allow evolution to work its magic. I encourage viewers to continue exploring this fascinating subject. Whether you're interested in evolution, ecology, or the natural world in general, snakes provide endless opportunities for learning and discovery. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know what aspects of snake evolution you find most intriguing. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the remarkable evolutionary history of snakes. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content about evolution and the natural world. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.